This conference will now be
So,
recorded.
so how's it going, man?
Oh, it's going well. It's going well. Appreciate you having me on here. Glad we finally got the chance to do this.
Absolutely, absolutely. I had, I guess more or less came across. I think you did. What was it for a Frigo athlete? I think you did
Hmm.
interview there, and that's when I first saw you. And obviously you got the connection with the baseball and so forth, and that's right at my lane. So I again I appreciate you taking the time to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're out in Lawrence, you said, right?
Yeah, man, rock chalk.
Okay, awesome,
I
awesome.
know you're Oklahoma State, right?
Obviously Oklahoma State guy here, but that's
That's
cool.
that is cool, man.
I'm
So.
probably one of the closer guests you might have had on here. I don't know. I'm not. I'm 30 minutes down the road from you over here in Overland Park.
You literally are, man. You got to come down to Lawrence, man.
Oh yeah, we get down there. I was down there for the football game this past year. I'll be down. I usually go up for the basketball game every year. Obviously this year wasn't able to do that, but yeah, every year that we go play you guys at Allen, I'm always there. So
Cool,
definitely,
cool.
we'll definitely have to connect when I'm back in Lawrence again.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, well, I guess let me go ahead and kind of jump into the a little intro, and then we kind of go from there. Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Pat Brown. I'm a financial advisor with Edmunds Duncan here in Lawrence, Kansas. Former student athlete, played football for the University of Kansas many, many, many years ago. Was a team captain for 3 years and enjoyed myself immensely while playing here. And throughout that time, I became very passionate about financial literacy for student athletes. And as time has gone on, I've been trying to interview former student athletes with the hopes that current student athletes can learn from some of the successes and failures. And so, as some of you guys have probably, hopefully, guys that are listening probably heard as I was talking, I have a man, and I want to make sure I pronounce your last name correctly. It's John Perrin, right?
Yes, sir. Jonathan Perrin, that's me.
Jonathan Perrin. Okay, so you go by John or Jonathan?
Jonathan professionally is pretty much what everybody calls me. That's what's on my email, so
Cool.
that's what everybody calls me.
Jonathan. Okay, so Jonathan Perrin. So I had to do some cyber stalking on you, man, which it wasn't too tough. So Jonathan was a member of the OSU, Oklahoma State University baseball team for 4 years. 2014 Big 12 champions, three times first team academic, All Big 12, first team All Big 12 pitcher in 2014. Man, that's big. You went on, so were you drafted with the Milwaukee Brewers or the Detroit
Yes.
Tigers? Okay,
Both. I actually was drafted twice. Drafted in 2014 by the Tigers. Said no. Ended up going back to school, complete my degree, and then signed after my senior year with the Brewers in 2015.
awesome, awesome. And then you spent time with the Kansas City Royals, and then finished up with the Kansas City Monarchs.
Yeah, so finished with the Monarchs. In between there, sprinkled some time out in Latin America, down in Mexico and the Dominican as well.
Nice, good man. That's awesome, man. Congratulations, man. That's a great career. I mean, obviously, a lot of guys wish they could have had something remotely close to that.
Yeah,
So,
it was a wonderful experience. I got to experience some amazing cultures and meet a whole group of amazing people throughout that time. So I'm definitely very fortunate to have had that experience.
awesome, awesome. So, what I normally do with these interviews, I just read what financial literacy is because I'm just under the impression a lot of guys, whether football, baseball, basketball, what have this connotation of financial literacy as a negative connotation. So, financial literacy is a possession of a set of skills and knowledge that allows an individual to make an informed and effective decision with all of their resources. Um, I want to, I guess, go back your freshman and sophomore year. Did anybody ever talk to you about money? Did anybody ever talk about credit cards, budgeting, anything of that nature?
Yes, on the budgeting side, yes, my mother, she's a mortgage underwriter at a bank. So fortunately, she's seen some ugly loan applications, so she taught me how to balance a checkbook, I think when I was like 12 or 13 years old. When I
Awesome.
first got my first job mowing lawns, she opened a checking account for me so I could put my money in there. And she was the one that taught me, originally on the old school like checkbooks, how to balance your checkbook. And and
Yeah.
kind of start to learn how, money coming in, money coming out. So I understood that part, but from a credit card standpoint, no. Actually, I didn't know my first credit card until I was 24 years old. So from that point of view, I guess I was lucky. I was so scared of a credit card because I'd heard so
Yeah.
many bad stories that I just never ever wanted to touch one.
Man. So, which is probably obviously different in different universities, but here it's like you go up on campus and they're all over as far as people that are, for lack of a better way to put it, peddling credit cards. And I got in trouble, at a young age, and a lot of guys did, where you just go up there, you get your free T-shirt, your bag of Skittles, and next thing you know, you get a credit card come in the mail. And if you don't understand, if you're not able to manage it, it can obviously be detrimental moving down the line. So it was great that you didn't even touch it.
Well, that was the thing is I had seen other guys get into some trouble with it and not really understand the implications of what they were doing. And to me, I was just like, why would I go spend somebody else's money? That's not my money to spend. And so
Right.
conceptually, I've always been a very debt averse person. I still am. So for me, I was just like, I'm just gonna avoid that like the plague. I don't understand it. I don't want to touch it. And I didn't until I had to get a credit card to actually start building some credit to be able to,
Right.
be a functioning member of society as an adult. And that didn't happen until I was 24.
Well, good deal. Good deal. So, um, I guess again, going back to school, and I know you mentioned your mom. How did you come to the decisions you made about money while you were in college? Was it kind of a trial and error type of situation?
Oh, oh man, freshman and sophomore year of college, I don't know if you would even call them decisions. It was just, it was like, hey, you have this much money to spend on food and gas every month. And if you run out, don't call me kind of situation. So, and it happened. I remember one of the first, it was like my second or third month at school. And I was like, hey, like, there was about a week left in the month. I was like, Mom, I'm out. She's like, sorry. Like,
Oh, that's hardcore. She's like, I don't know what
you
to tell
know,
you.
like you got your meal plan. I guess you're going to be eating a lot of cafeteria meals for the next week, but that's all you get.
Man, so with baseball, so with football, I'm familiar with. We get our little stipends each month. Well, baseball, was it different based off of whether it was position or how they, can put together scholarships for you guys?
Yeah, so football is a head count sport. So if you're on scholarship, you're on the full boat versus baseball, you only have 11.7 scholarships to throw out between the whole roster. So you get a lot of partials, a lot of percentage based scholarships on that side. So you do have some mixing and matching going on and we had meal plans and things like that, but then we didn't actually get like the full like training table, dining hall access until after they changed the rules with the Kimball Walker rule, and that actually went into place my senior year. And then we got the full access to the dining hall and the same things that the football and the basketball players got my senior year.
Gotcha, gotcha. So I know you're like, man, I missed out.
Oh my goodness, I ate so well my senior year. I was like, man, I wish I would have been 25 pounds heavier if I had it for the first 3 years, but it definitely was
Man.
eating good that senior year.
Well, that's cool. So again, looking back, freshman, even junior year as well, what were some of the worst financial decisions you made in college, and what were some of the best?
Well, so the worst financial decisions that I made had to do with being in the state of Oklahoma and being really close to Indian reservations, and the casinos are open to everyone. So in most states you have to be 21 to be able to walk into a casino, but on the Indian reservations in Oklahoma you only have to be 18. So
Wow.
a lot of the worst financial decisions I made had to do with late night trips to the casino with my teammates for sure on a weekend or whatever. Um, and the
Man.
best financial decisions that I ever made, to be honest with you, just this is a little bit broader, but the best financial decision I ever made was to go back to school for my senior year finish my degree and not sign that professional contract as a junior year because it ended up just setting me up both personally, professionally, and financially. It put me in such a better spot coming out of sports than I would have been if I would have signed and not finished school at that time.
Awesome. So did you win quite a bit when you went to the casino?
No, that's why it was a bad financial decision. House always wins, right? That's why they stay
Awesome.
open.
House always wins. Um, so this might be repetitive, but looking back on college now, what do you wish you would have done different in regards to dealing with your money?
The thing I wish I would have done differently is I wish I would have understood what investing was at that time because I knew good companies. I had an iPhone, I had a Netflix account, I had an Amazon account. Like I had all these things, and if I would have had any understanding at all about the stock market and investing or anything like that, I would have probably put some of that money that I had saved from like saving per diem meal money and
Yep.
things like that. I probably would have put it into the stock market instead of, spending it on video games and food and whatever. I might actually put money away in like a Robinhood account or something at that time.
Sure.
I just didn't have any knowledge of that just yet at that point. So that would be the one thing I would go back and tell 18-year-old me is like, hey, put a couple $100 away into some of these stock investments. It'll pay off in the long run.
Yeah, and one of the reasons, this again, this is just basically a passion project of mine. But I just kind of look back, and it's exposure. Obviously, as athletes, we're not, um, we just don't have the exposure to this type of thing. And even something as small and as significant as putting $20 a month away, that would have hopefully created some type of habits had we done something like that back in school. I wish I had done something like that back in school as well, just to get those statements, just to get and understand what a mutual fund is, and it's just a regret, and hopefully, as people watch this, they'll just maybe start to kind of take that advice, listen to folks like you, and
Yeah.
maybe do that. So
That's a huge part of it, just creating those good habits early on. I mean, it doesn't take much, but it's a learn by doing. Everybody learns best by just going and doing it and just getting in that habit as early as you can. And obviously, you understand the power of compounding interest. The earlier you start, the better off you're going to be. So just having that understanding, like, hey, this is powerful if and it doesn't take much, but just we have limited resources at that point in our lives, but you can still put a little bit away on the
yep,
side because the dividends and the payoff of that on the long end of it is going to be huge.
yeah, a lot of these, I'm generalizing now, but specifically football, we eat so much. So I mean, you don't have to go to McDonald's every day. Take that
Right.
little money, invest in an account or something of that nature. So
Buy McDonald's
um,
stock instead of the double cheeseburger, right?
there you go, there it is. Um, so how has the habits that you formed in college affected life after college for you, or has it?
In a huge way, in a huge way. Especially after I transitioned out of professional baseball and got into the working world, the
Mhm.
habits that I developed in college of, managing your time and doing things like that, and even in pro ball when I was doing money management and playing at the same time, like being able to get your time management in, knowing what you have a set schedule of what you need to get done on a daily basis comes in super handy. And I'm institutionalized. I still get up at 5 a.m. in the morning and go to the
Do you
gym.
really?
Yeah, so I'm definitely institutionalized from that standpoint too. I still keep in contact with my college strength coach Tracy Baldwin, and I always joke with him. He's like, man, you institutionalized me. I still do this every day. But it's just, it was a good routine for me, man. I got up early, I got my stuff done, I went to class, I went to practice, and it was just I just bang, 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 knocking
Mhm.
everything I needed to do out every day, starting early and just getting up and getting the day started on the right foot. I always joke with my girlfriend, say I do more before 7 a.m. than most people do in the entire day. And for me, that's a sense of pride because I know I'm prepared for every single day. I come into the office
Yep.
ready to work. I'm awake. I'm alert, and I'm just ready to attack my work day after I get that done. So that's the biggest habit that I still took from college for sure.
Man, that's awesome, man. I wish I still had mine. I mean, I
I don't
still,
know how long it's gonna last. We'll see, but I'm gonna try and keep it going for as long as I can.
I think athletes typically have this an innate ability to always have goals and always set goals, whether it's internally or outwardly. So I would imagine you probably could continue that in some capacity, as you get older. So I wouldn't doubt it. Would not doubt it. And you touched on this last question as well, the second last question. But what are some of the pitfalls you hope your story could prevent to young student athletes out there? So again, what advice would you give to a younger Jonathan?
Well, number one is budget, like understanding what you got coming in and what you got going out. Obviously, the what you got coming in part of it is pretty low. It's improving, and with some of the changes that are happening in college sports with NIL
Mhm.
and some of the legislation that's coming down the pipe here, uh, things are starting to change, and hopefully there will be more opportunities for student athletes to start generating some revenue for themselves. But with that comes, with that opportunity comes responsibility of understanding, this is how much you're bringing in. You can't just go spend a dollar earned is not a dollar spent.
Right.
So understanding, hey, we have this opportunity, but that means we have an opportunity to save and invest and do those types of things. Not necessarily just to young Jonathan, but to just young people in general.
Yep.
Make a solid choice on where you're going to go to school based on financial fit. I think a lot of people get into trouble about they want to go to the name, they want to go to the brand of a school. It doesn't matter how much it costs, where it is, if it's a good fit. And then you end up on the backside of it and you're $80,000 in debt at some,
Yep.
depending on which sport you play. Obviously, if you're a full ride football guy, it's different. But I see this a lot in baseball because we're not a full scholarship sport where guys get into trouble of chasing a certain thing and it's not
Huh.
necessarily the best fit for you financially in the future.
Huh. I did not even think about that. I mean, yeah. I mean, if you're chasing some sort of dream and you're trying to go to a university that you can't necessarily afford, I wouldn't have put that together. So I'm
Yeah,
glad you.
and I was very fortunate because my mom and I had a very frank conversation about my family's financial situation going into school. Because my freshman year, I was a preferred walk-on, so it was all academic money.
Mm,
And so me and my mom sat down and we were moving into the dorms and we were walking out and you could see the football stadium from the dorm parking lot. You can see the baseball stadium from the dorm parking lot and they're getting ready to leave. And she kind of looked at me. She had a serious look in her face. What mama's serious, right?
right,
So
right.
and she goes, John, she goes, you see everything around you here? I was like, yes, ma'am. She goes, if you want to stay here, you have to keep your scholarship. You have to keep that 3.0 to keep your academic scholarship, or you can't afford to go to school here. And
Mm.
I was like, yes, ma'am. I am in four. Totally understand. And
Open out.
I had to get that 3.0, and I think I had like a 3.4 something for the cumulative for school. I was like,
Mm.
I'm giving myself some wiggle room. I'm not taking any chances because I want to be here. I'm not going to squander this opportunity, and my future, both financially and on the baseball side, is riding on this. So I had to take care of my business.
Well, absolutely, and it sounds like you definitely did. Which brings us to our bonus questions, because you are someone that made it to the next level, going to the NBL, MLB. What I guess from that standpoint, how did things change for you? Were you able to manage that once you start seeing more money than you most likely have seen before?
Yeah, so that whole experience is the reason why I'm in the position I'm in and the reason why I do the job that I do. Because I got that first bonus check and I looked at it and that was the most money I'd ever had in my checking account my whole life, and I had zero idea what to do with it. None.
Wow.
Because I majored in history in college, so I had no clue what I was going to do with that money. And again, my mom worked in a bank, and I had seen the 30 for 30 broke, and I was like,
Yes.
okay, like I knew athletes were kind of notorious targets for bad actors in the industry. And my
Yep.
mom was like, well, I can set you up with a meeting with someone in the wealth management part of our bank. And I was like, Yeah, I definitely want to do that, but I need to like go learn about this a little bit first
Yeah,
because I don't want to just walk into a meeting and just feel like an idiot and not know what anybody's talking about. So from
right.
there, my first year of Pro Bowl, I started hitting the books. I started with a random walk down Wall Street by Burton Malkiel and then just hit the books from there. I've always been an avid reader, so I just read dozens and dozens of books over the course of a year to kind of educate myself. And then I ended up opening a brokerage account for myself. Again, going back to that learn
Awesome.
by doing concept. And after that, I just fell in love with it, started explaining it to other people who were
Yep.
like kind of in the same boat. And eventually that led me to get my license, the Series 65, to become an advisor while I was still playing, managing money for some teammates and helping other athletes and friends kind of manage those same stresses that I had gone through of just kind of sitting there like, okay, oh, like that
Right.
little panic mode of like, what do I do now? So that was kind of how I ended up getting into this industry anyway. So that's kind of how I did that.
Man, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I appreciate you sharing that. Um, like I said, this is kind of towards the end, but you know, I believe is it more than baseball? I think
Yes.
a bit that you do, and I thought that was great. So is that something that you had started, or something you just became a part of? If you can kind of talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so kind of going back to the changes in lifestyle is baseball is a little bit unique is you have to go play through the minor leagues before you can do anything. And I don't know how much you know about paying the minor leagues, but it is awful. It is really bad. It's like $1,200 a month bad. Like it is
Oh,
very
wow.
low. And so more than baseball actually started a few years ago. The co-founders Jeremy Wolf and Slade Heathcott, we connected. I had been putting some stuff out on social media talking about the pay structure and then the Save America's Pastime Act, which got passed in 2018, which basically solidified MLB's antitrust exemption and allowed them to do the things that they were doing to minor league players. And they started that organization, and I'd always been a big supporter of it, advocated for it, blasted their stuff out on social media. And then they've been building programs up to give support for minor league players, with getting grants. So literally putting money in people's pocket with grants.
Mm,
The financial education piece is something that we started this year as I kind of transitioned out of baseball and got into this role full time. They asked me to start putting together some financial education content for players. So I ended up taking over the director role for financial guidance for them. And then they do some other things as well, helping guys get gear. They have a gaming section, just a lot of different charitable causes that they do around minor league baseball. So it's a tremendous organization. They do a lot for the minor league players who are really grinding it out, and just very fortunate to have a chance to be a helping hand and give guys resources that they need.
absolutely. Absolutely. Um, well, like I said, we're to the end here. If you could just go ahead and just talk about what you're doing now. Obviously you mentioned your license now as an advisor. Just talk about your firm. You know what you're doing, and kind of go from there.
Yeah, so in 2017, I was managing my own money, had a brokerage account. Was actually, 2017 was a good year for everybody, so I picked a good time to start. Uh, and then met a guy who offered me a chance to get my license, study for the Series 65 in the off season between 2017 and 2018. Got my license February of 18. So 2018, 2019, my last 2 years, I was working as a remote employee for an RIA out of Overland Park, Kansas, where I live, and then was helping managing money for teammates, helping managing money for some friends. Then obviously, pandemic, March 2020 rolls around. Pretty much put the end to my baseball career. I was kind of on the way out anyways, but that just
Mm.
solidified it. Just made it a real easy reason to go say, hey, I'm gonna go pivot here and go do something else. And so then from there, I got hired by the firm I'm working at now called Waterfront Advisors in Overland Park, Kansas, working as an investment advisor and a financial planner, just continuing to help people, manage their investments and and save for retirement and get their financial life in order. And now also getting ready to start my CFP designation studies. So start that this summer. Unfortunately, it's through the University of Missouri, so I hope you don't hold that against me. But so
I don't
just
know, man.
continue.
Oklahoma now, Missouri. I don't know, man.
Might have to just cut this right here, right?
Right,
But
right. Cut everything. No.
yep. So get my certified financial planner designation over the course of this next year, and then just continuing to help people get their money right with a focus towards athletes, with the More Than Baseball organization, and then helping guys, for this month, really helping guys get prepped for the draft, a few meetings, for those guys who are about to come into money that they've never seen before. If you're 18, 21, 22 years old and you never had anything before in your whole life, and then boom, you sign a piece of paper and
Yep.
your whole life changes. So just helping people manage that and continuing to save and invest versus ended up on the next version of 30 for 30 broke, right? That's the
That's right.
goal.
That's right. That is right, man. Well, Jonathan, I appreciate your time, man. This has been great. I definitely want to, obviously stay in touch, and hopefully you do make it down for a game. We can chop it up a little bit there as well.
Absolutely, Pat. Appreciate the time. This was awesome. Appreciate all you're doing for helping athletes get educated on the financial side.
Absolutely, man. Well, you take care and have a good weekend.
You too.
All right. Take care.